Hey everyone, welcome back to another product use case video with Covalent. I'm Leilani, and today we're going to be talking about how tax companies use Covalent. So tax companies are a bit interesting because obviously the tax regulations change depending on which location you're in, which country, which province or state. Especially with crypto taxes, regulations are sometimes a bit ambiguous and also still in the process of being made. So we can't really go too deep into that today, but what all tax companies need is a record of a person's transactions so that they can look at the profits and the losses that they've made through their trades in crypto. That's something that Covalent can provide through our transactions endpoints and a couple others that we'll look at. And there's one reason that makes Covalent very unique and attractive for this purpose for tax companies, which is that we standardize and we format the data across different chains. So picture if you're a tax provider and you have clients that are transacting maybe like in the hundreds of thousands of transactions range throughout the year, and they're interacting on different protocols like Uniswap and Blur and OpenSea, and there's different versions of OpenSea. Basically, all of those transactions that they make are going to look different on the blockchain because those smart contracts have different standards and events. So it's kind of hard to make meaningful use of that data and to extract it in a way where you know that all of these things are sales and all of these things are swaps. And that's what Covalent focuses on doing. So we format the request and the response so that it's the exact same across all 100 chains that we index, or over 100 chains. And then we also go to great lengths to also add human-readable transaction fields. So we'll actually classify a whole bunch of events that are adding liquidity or selling an NFT, which you can view on our docs on our Get a Transaction endpoint, and it's going to be rolled out to other ones soon. For the purpose of this video, because we can't really go inside a tax company and take a look at their software. Again, everybody implements it differently. We've actually built out a spreadsheet that is basically just going to show you a record of wallets, ERC20 transfers, and native token transfers. And that's pretty much all you would need to know in order to determine their average cost basis and the profit and loss. Let's go through that. And this spreadsheet will also share with you so that you can follow along, or you can check out your own wallet or whoever else's. I don't know, maybe you are also doing your friend's taxes. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the spreadsheet looks like this. Basically, you're going to see a space for a wallet address, a space for the currency. I'm going to keep this in USD just because it's the most common, but you can check the supported currencies on our docs. And then you're going to see a cell for the API key that you want to use. I've just hidden mine for now because please don't steal it. And then once you've put in those inputs, you're just going to click Analyze My Wallet, and it's going to populate these other sheets that we see below. So I just picked a random wallet off Etherscan. I'll just click Run. And depending on the size of the wallet, like how many transactions they've had, this might take longer or shorter. This sheet is connected to an app script that's basically running the script that will call the Covalent API and populate these sheets. So let's go to the first sheet. We're going to click on Activity. This actually uses an endpoint that's currently only for premium, but stay tuned because we may be opening that up soon, which is the Wallet Activity endpoint. And this basically, for the wallet address we specified, it scans all of the supported networks, so over 100 networks, to see if the wallet has transactions on them, and it returns the last active timestamp so you can know when they were active on that chain. And this is basically just a starting point for anything else you want to fetch. And this is good for taxation. This is also good for building wallets. So instead of like manually adding a network, you could just call this endpoint in the backend and you know which networks the wallet address is active on. Okay, so we can see that for the wallet address I specified, they're active on 5 chains, and I can see when they were active. So it looks like most recently they were active on Polygon, also pretty recently on Ethereum. Typically those two are quite popular, and then maybe we'll check out some other ones too. Matic mainnet is Polygon. It just used to be called Matic, but the label says Polygon. And RSK is now known as Rootstock, which is like a Bitcoin smart contract chain. Okay, so now I'm going to click on balances, and I'm going to see what this wallet is holding, and then we'll go through their transactions. As I made one call to the wallet activity endpoint before, now I'm going to make separate calls to the balances endpoint depending on the chain. So I'll call balances for Ethereum in the backend, Polygon, Avalanche, Rootstack, and whichever other chain there was. As you can see, I'm getting a complete list broken down by the chain of which tokens they hold, including the contract address and the balance of the tokens, and then the quotes in USD, which is my specified currency, which I can see in the pretty quotes. And this is like not super relevant right now for the tax use case, but it's just good to know what they have in the wallet, and then you can piece together that with the transfers. Okay, so now I'm going to go to ERC20 token transfers. This is exactly what it says. So any transfers that they've made with an ERC20 token, so something that's not a native token like Ether, but like wrapped Ether or any sort of like DeFi tokens, this is probably where you're going to see a lot of their swap activity. And I can see this broken down by the chain, when it happened, the transaction hash, the from, to, the tokens, the transfer type, whether or not it was in or out of the wallet, and then these quotes as well. So I can see the quotes of the value in USD, and I can see the gas quotes as well, like how much they spent on gas. And then from this, basically what this sheet does is uses a very long and complicated formula to calculate the average cost basis of these transactions. And I'll just open it up so you can see how gross it is. So that's the formula. I don't have anything to say about this. That's how it works. So from here, I can calculate the capital gains, which is another long formula that uses the average cost basis. So basically what you can see is from these transfers how much they've overall gained and lost in terms of like profit and loss. So a lot of these trades seem to be slightly negative, which is pretty common, especially in, well, just obviously in Web3. They do have one really big profit down here. Yeah, cool. Anyway, it's not my job to like forensically analyze this random person's wallet, but that's what you can see through the ERC20 token transfers. Now let's look at the native token transfers. So again, this is broken down by chain. It's going to give you the same transaction hash and the from and to, in and outs, the quotes in USD, and the gas as well. This is basically going to be for those chains, each of their native token transfers. So for ETH mainnet, it would be ETH or Ether. For Polygon, it'd be Matic. For RSK, I think it's RSK. For Avalanche, it's AVAX. It's whatever the native token of those chains is. And then here you can see I also have the average cost basis at the end and the capital gains. And then finally, there's two more last pages in this Google Sheets, which are the ERC20 token transfer summary and the native token transfer summaries. So here, it's just going to aggregate what we just saw in the previous two pages, which is all of the ins, so all of the ERC20 transfers into the wallet, and the total of how much it equates to in USD, as well as the transfers out, and the same thing, and also gives you the gas. And then we're going to also have that for native tokens. Now, for actually doing your own taxes, these totals probably aren't really descriptive enough for like the sake of auditing. You don't want to just take a total number. You probably will want to go and dive into all of these individual trades and just double check what you're looking at. I think these pages are going to be the most useful because the only columns that you're really going to care about for the tax use case are these two, which is the average cost basis and the capital gains. And you can see that for, your native tokens and your ERC20 transfers. So that is how you use our taxation spreadsheet that shows you transaction summary for a wallet. Basically, this whole thing was using 4 endpoints, which were get wallet activity, get token balances, get transactions for address, and get ERC20 token transfers for address. So if you're curious, you can always copy this spreadsheet and check out the app script as well and play around with it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more product use cases. Bye.